The hall of the Galactic Council glowed with a cold silver light. Hundreds of alien eyes stared down from high balconies, judging the three humans who stood in the center. The air was filled with low hums, whispers in 100 languages, and the sharp scent of ozone from the energy fields that kept the audience contained. At the far end sat the Emperor of the Galactic Empire, his long hands resting on a floating crystal desk. His voice was calm but heavy as he said, "Humanity stands accused of defiance, aggression, and refusal to submit to the laws of the Empire." The lead human, Ambassador Marcus Hale, stood straight in his gray suit. His eyes did not blink. "We did not come here to submit," he said. His voice echoed clearly through the hall, carried by the translator drones. "We came here to speak." Laughter rippled through the crowd. A delegate with blue skin and 4 arms leaned forward. "Speak? Your kind was found stealing from Imperial space? You built weapons that you were forbidden to create. You tested warp drives without our permission." Marcus said nothing. He just looked up at the rows of alien faces, his expression calm, almost curious. The Emperor raised one finger. "Enough. Earth has been warned many times. The humans are dangerous, their minds reckless, their pride uncontrollable. The Council will decide." The chamber dimmed. A glowing sphere appeared above the center platform, showing a map of the Milky Way. One by one, golden lights appeared, each one marking a human colony. "These are the worlds of humanity," the Emperor said. "From this moment, by the order of the Empire, humanity is hereby declared a slave species. All human colonies will be placed under direct Imperial rule. Earth itself will surrender its fleets and serve as a labor world. The age of human freedom is over." The words hung in silence. The hall was filled with quiet satisfaction. The decision had been made. Humanity had been judged, but Marcus did not move. He looked at the glowing sphere of stars and said softly, "You think you've ended something. You've only begun something you don't understand." A faint stir moved through the council. The Emperor leaned forward. "Are you threatening the Empire?" Marcus's mouth curved into a small smile. "No, I'm warning you. You think you've seen human anger before? You haven't." The guard stepped closer, energy rifles aimed at his chest. The Emperor waved his hand. "Remove them. Send them back to their world in chains." But Marcus didn't resist. He turned and looked at his aide, a young woman named Kara Voss. Her face was pale, but her eyes were calm. "It's time," he whispered. As they were led away, Kara whispered back, "Do you think they'll understand what they've done?" Marcus shook his head. "No, but soon they will." Outside the council chamber, the sky was filled with traffic, thousands of ships moving in and out of orbit above the galactic capital. The human shuttle was small, simple, and unarmed. The alien guards laughed as it drifted away. They did not notice that the ship sent no signals, no distress calls. It just flew silently, leaving behind the heart of the Empire. The Emperor returned to his throne. "Send the order to all sectors. Begin the capture of human colonies. Make it public. Let the galaxy see that defiance leads to slavery." The council applauded. Armies moved. Fleets prepared. Across the stars, the news spread. Earth had been broken. But on Earth, there was silence. No transmissions. No messages. No cries for help. Only silence. The alien fleets sent to pacify the Sol system found strange things. Communication systems failed near Jupiter. Drones vanished without signal. When they approached the blue planet, sensors began to glitch. Images blurred. Data collapsed into static. One commander tried to broadcast a message to demand surrender, but all he heard was his own voice echoing back, distorted and delayed. Then, a human voice spoke through his speakers. "You shouldn't have come. Every ship in the fleet lost power for 1 second. When the lights returned, 3 of their destroyers were gone. No explosion, no trace. Just gone." The aliens panicked and jumped to warp speed, retreating toward Mars' orbit. Behind them, a single human ship appeared, dark and silent, its hull black like space itself. It did not fire. It only watched. Back on the galactic capital, the Emperor received reports of confusion. He dismissed them at first. "Malfunctions," he said. "Human tricks. They cannot stand against the Empire." But the reports grew stranger. Entire scout groups disappeared. Drones sent to Earth never returned. Data showed impossible readings, gravitational distortions, magnetic voids, and strange bursts of energy that bent space. At the Council's next meeting, the delegates argued in fear. They are hiding something. They have technology we do not understand. They cannot be allowed to resist. The Emperor slammed his hand on the desk. Enough. The humans are nothing. They are animals who learn to build machines. We will crush them. Ambassador Marcus watched that same meeting from a secret room on Earth. He stood beside the great screen showing the faces of the Empire's leaders. Behind him, rows of silent officers worked at glowing consoles. The Earth defense grid was online. Thousands of ships waited in orbit, hidden behind cloaking fields that distorted light itself. "Transmit the message," Marcus said. A young operator nodded and pressed a control. Across the galaxy, human channels activated. Every colony, every outpost, every ship received a single coded message. Operation Dawn begins now. Marcus looked out through the window of the command center. The night sky above Earth shimmered as ships rose from hidden hangars beneath the oceans, deserts, and polar ice. They were silent, smooth and dark as the void. He spoke quietly, not to anyone in particular. "They called us slaves. Now they will remember why we never kneel." Far beyond Earth, in deep space, the first human fleet moved toward the outer systems. They carried no banners, no colors, only silence and purpose. In the galactic capital, the Emperor's night was disturbed by a sudden alarm. One of the Empire's relay stations near Vega had gone dark. Then another. Then 6 more. Within hours, dozens of communication hubs vanished from the network. No one understood how. There were no battles, no distress calls, only a spreading absence like light being swallowed by shadow. The Emperor ordered full investigation, but the Council's analysts could find nothing. Then one of them showed him an intercepted transmission. Just static at first, then a faint human voice. "We asked for peace. You gave us chains. Now we will show you what freedom costs." The message ended. The Council chamber grew quiet. For the first time, there was fear in their voices. One delegate said, "Perhaps we made a mistake." The Emperor said nothing. His gaze was cold, but behind it there was doubt. He whispered, "If they are planning a war, they will not survive it." But deep down, he knew the truth. The silence of Earth was not surrender. It was preparation. Ambassador Marcus stood in the observation deck watching the stars. His face was calm, but his hands were clenched. Kara stood beside him. "Do you think they'll come to understand?" she asked. "They will," Marcus said. "When their fleets burn." He turned to the window again. "Humanity is done asking for mercy. Now they'll see what happens when we are denied respect." Outside, the stars seemed to flicker, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. The silence of Earth was over. Something vast and unstoppable was beginning to move, and somewhere, far beyond the reach of any sensor, the wrath of Earth was waking. The alien admiral sat inside his command ship near Jupiter, watching the blue planet from afar. His fleet floated in silence, thousands of ships waiting for his signal. They had been ordered to occupy Earth and take control of all human colonies. The admiral's face was calm, but his voice was sharp as he said, "Send them a message. They must surrender or be destroyed." His communications officer nodded and opened a channel toward Earth. "This is Admiral Theros of the Galactic Empire. Humanity is now under Imperial control. Surrender your fleets and prepare for inspection." The message went out. Minutes passed. Then hours. No answer came. The Admiral frowned. "Repeat the message," he said. The officer did. Still no response. Earth remained silent. No lights, no transmissions, no movement. The planet below looked peaceful, almost too peaceful. "Strange," the Admiral murmured. "Scan the planet again." The scanners showed normal readings, oceans, cities, clouds, but something felt wrong. The data flickered, as if the planet's surface was moving in ways the sensors couldn't understand. Then, for a moment, every screen on the ship went black. The crew gasped as static filled the bridge. A faint human voice whispered through the noise, "You should not have come." The screens flickered back to life. 3 destroyers from the fleet were missing. They had not exploded. They had simply vanished. What happened? The admiral shouted. His officers checked every sensor, but there were no signs of battle or debris. It was as if the ships had been erased from existence. Impossible, the admiral whispered. No one has this kind of power. Before he could speak again, an alert appeared on the main display. A human ship had appeared near Saturn. It was small, black, and completely silent. It did not show up on the sensors. It simply appeared, as if space itself had opened for it. Identify that ship. No record found, Admiral, said his officer, voice shaking. It's using a stealth field I've never seen before. Send a warning shot, the Admiral ordered. A plasma beam fired from one of his cruisers, but the beam missed completely. The human ship moved so fast it seemed to jump from one position to another in a blink. The Admiral's hands began to shake. That's not warp travel. That's something else. Then the human ship sent a single message. It was short and calm. Leave our system. Do not test us again. The Admiral stared at the screen for a long time. Then, quietly, he gave the order to retreat. Back on the galactic capital, reports began flooding the council chambers. Entire patrols were missing. Colonies were cut off from communication. Something strange was happening in human space. One council member said, "Maybe they've built something new." Another shouted, "It's impossible. Humans don't have the resources." The Emperor remained silent. His eyes were cold, but his fingers tapped the table slowly. Silence. "We will send a larger fleet. We will crush them completely." Within days, hundreds of ships were sent toward Earth from different directions. They moved through hyperspace with confidence. But when they entered the solar system, something went wrong. Their navigation systems began to fail. Ships were lost in folded pockets of space. Some reappeared months later, drifting with no crew alive. Others were never found. The survivors spoke of strange visions, stars bending, gravity waves twisting around invisible shapes, and human ships moving like shadows between realities. The Empire's scientists tried to explain it, but none could. They began whispering about human experiments in quantum space, projects once thought to be myths. Some called it quantum cloaking, others called it ghost space. Whatever it was, it made human ships impossible to track. In the hidden command center deep under Earth's surface, Marcus Hale stood in front of a giant holographic map. Around him, officers and analysts watched glowing dots representing enemy fleets. Many of the dots faded one by one. "They still think we are weak," Marcus said quietly. Caravos stood beside him. "They will understand soon. Every fleet they send will disappear." Marcus nodded. "Good, but don't celebrate yet. They will come again, bigger, stronger. We must make them fear what they cannot see." At that moment, deep in space, human stealth ships moved through folded dimensions. They carried no heat signatures, no light. They were invisible to all known sensors. Each ship placed strange devices near the Empire's communication lines, small black cubes that absorbed energy. Within hours, dozens of Imperial channels went silent. The Council grew restless. News of the failed attacks spread fast. "They are striking at us!" cried one delegate. "They are hunting our fleets." The Emperor's voice was cold. "Then we will strike back with everything." But even as he spoke, another report arrived. An entire shipyard in the Trion sector had vanished. Thousands of workers gone. All that remained was a single message carved into the hull of a drifting supply ship. "We warned you!" The Emperor clenched his fists. How do they move without warp trails? How do they strike without being seen? No one could answer. Meanwhile, across the stars, alien traders whispered about the humans. Some said Earth had built machines that could think for themselves. Others said the humans had tamed black holes. Some even believed Earth had discovered how to control time, but no one knew the truth. Only the humans did. In reality, Earth had been preparing for decades. Long before the Empire discovered them, human scientists had developed a secret technology that allowed their ships to fold space in small jumps, appearing and disappearing instantly. They called it blink drive. It had been hidden, tested only in deep space. Now, it was ready. Every time the Empire sent ships toward Earth, human fleets used the blink drive to appear behind them, destroy their supply lines, and vanish again. The Empire began to lose control of its outer systems. On the galactic capital, fear began to spread among the common people. Some planets stopped obeying orders. Others whispered that perhaps the humans were chosen by fate, not cursed. One night, the Emperor sat alone in his palace, looking at the stars. His advisor entered. "Your Majesty, the humans have not attacked your world yet." "Maybe they only want peace." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Peace? They are challenging our rule. They will be crushed." But even he could feel the tension in the air. Something about Earth's silence made his skin crawl. The more he tried to control them, the more powerful they seemed to become. On Earth, Marcus watched the reports come in. The Empire was beginning to fear. He turned to Kara and said, "This is only the beginning. They think we're hiding behind our walls, but soon they'll see what we've built." She looked at him and asked, "When will we strike?" "When the time is right," Marcus said. "Right now, fear is our weapon. Let them tremble in their own halls." Outside the command center, the night sky of Earth shimmered. Hundreds of cloaked ships hovered in the darkness, waiting for the order. Far beyond them, in the cold vacuum between stars, human drones drifted silently near enemy territory. Recording, scanning, learning, the Empire was still vast, but its heart had begun to shake. Its fleets were strong, but their leaders had started to doubt. Every time they tried to crush Earth, they lost a piece of themselves. Marcus knew the truth. He whispered it to himself as he watched the stars. "They believe we are slaves. They believe we are fragile. But they don't understand what happens when humanity unites. They don't know what's coming." As he spoke, a small blue light blinked on the console before him. The signal was clear. A human fleet had just entered the border of Imperial space, unseen and unstoppable. Marcus smiled slightly. Phase 2 has begun. The silent war was no longer about defense. Humanity had decided to strike back, and across the galaxy, civilizations began to whisper a new fear, the fear of Earth's wrath, waiting in the dark. The Imperial Fleet Alpha moved through the dark edge of the galaxy with confidence. It was the largest fleet ever gathered in history, made of more than 20,000 ships. Each vessel was armed with weapons powerful enough to destroy moons. The Emperor himself had ordered them to hunt down the humans and end their rebellion. Admiral Theros stood at the center of the command bridge, his silver armor shining under the blue lights. "We will burn their worlds and erase their name from the stars," he said coldly. The crew cheered, their pride filling the ship. Hours later, as the fleet moved through hyperspace, the stars around them began to shift. The navigators grew uneasy. "Admiral, the readings are unstable," one officer said. "The coordinates are changing. Space is folding strangely." "Adjust the course," Theros ordered. But before they could, the entire fleet dropped out of hyperspace at once. The ships came out near a region known as the Silent Veil, a dark patch of space avoided even by smugglers. The Admiral looked at his screens in confusion. "We are off course." "How did this happen?" Then the sensors detected something. Small objects appeared at the edge of the radar, tiny, fast, and silent. "They move like shadows. Identify them," the Admiral demanded. No one could. The objects were too fast to track. Suddenly, flashes of light erupted outside the viewport. Dozens of Imperial ships vanished in seconds, their cores imploding without explosion. It was clean, precise destruction. "What is happening?" the Admiral shouted. A voice came through every ship's communication channel. It was calm, steady, and human. "We warned you to stay away." "You did not listen." The Admiral froze. "Show me the source of that signal." A human ship appeared in front of the fleet. It was unlike anything the Empire had ever seen, black and smooth, shaped like a blade. It emitted no light, no heat, nothing. It simply existed, and every Imperial sensor went blind when looking at it. "This is the fleet of Earth," said the voice. "We do not seek peace anymore. You declared war, and now you will taste it." The human ship moved faster than anything the Empire had ever encountered. It blinked through space, appearing and disappearing like a ghost. Every time it vanished, an Imperial warship followed it into silence. No explosion, no wreckage, just emptiness. The Admiral screamed orders, but panic had already begun to spread. The fleet fired in every direction, lighting up the void with energy beams, but the humans were everywhere and nowhere. Within minutes, half the fleet was gone. In the galactic capital, alarms blared. Reports came in from multiple sectors. Fleets were vanishing. Communication stations were dark. Then a live broadcast appeared on the Council's main screen. It was a human transmission. The video showed space filled with fire, an entire Imperial armada being torn apart. A human voice spoke clearly over the images. "You enslaved. You killed. You ruled through fear. Now you will see what fear truly means." The council hall fell silent. Even the Emperor's face lost its calm. "Cut the transmission," he ordered, but it was too late. Every screen across the Empire showed the same message. Every citizen saw it. Every soldier heard it. Humanity had spoken. Back on Earth, in the war room deep beneath the surface, Ambassador Marcus Hale stood with his officers. They watched the same footage, silent and focused. "Operation Dawn has succeeded," one officer said. 3 of their main fleets destroyed. Hundreds of systems in chaos. Marcus did not smile. "Continue the strikes. But remember, this is not vengeance. This is justice." Caravos looked at him. "Justice or wrath, Marcus? There is a fine line." He turned toward her. "Then let's make sure we stay on the right side of it." Across the stars, human fleets continued their assault. They did not target civilians or cities. They targeted power, communication arrays, fuel stations, shipyards, and command posts. The Empire began to collapse not from loss of life, but from the loss of control. Without their networks, their armies were blind. Without fuel, their fleets were stranded. In one battle near the Rim Worlds, an Imperial general tried to surrender. He opened all channels and said, "We yield." "Please stop," a human officer replied through static. "The war ends when your Emperor kneels." Then the human ships vanished again, leaving the general's forces adrift in silence. The Emperor's fury grew. He ordered the use of ancient weapons, the kind forbidden by the Galactic Council for thousands of years. Planet destroyers, gravity bombs, and plague missiles. But when the weapons were launched, none reached their targets. They disappeared mid-flight. No trace, no explosion. It was as if space itself had swallowed them whole. Behind this miracle was the human command, AI, named Argos, hidden deep within Earth's defense grid. Argos controlled thousands of satellites, drones, and quantum interceptors. It predicted Imperial actions before they happened. It folded space around the weapons and erased them. The Empire, for all its size and history, was fighting an enemy that could read its thoughts before they were even spoken. In the council chamber, the panic could no longer be hidden. "They are destroying us without mercy," cried one alien leader. "We must surrender." The Emperor rose from his seat, his voice cold. "We do not surrender. We are the Empire. We will destroy Earth and every human that lives." But even as he spoke, a massive explosion shook the city. The sky outside turned red. The capital's main power station had been hit. The lights in the chamber flickered, and for the first time in history, the Emperor's capital was in darkness. Marcus Hale stood in front of the holographic map, watching as one red dot after another disappeared from the galaxy's edges. His hand trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the weight of what they were doing. "How many have we taken down?" he asked quietly. 5 major fleets, the officer answered. 2 shipyards. The Empire's communication grid is 70% offline. Kara looked at him with wide eyes. "They can't fight back." "We're winning," Marcus sighed. "No one wins in war, Kara. But maybe this will make them think before they ever try to enslave another race again." Outside the war room, human fleets continued their advance. They didn't travel through hyperspace anymore. They blinked through folded dimensions, moving faster than thought. The Empire's ships tried to chase them, but always arrived seconds too late. On the capital world, the Emperor's advisors begged him to negotiate. "They are everywhere," one said. "They can destroy us anytime they wish." The Emperor stared at the hologram of Earth. His hands shook slightly. "No, I will not kneel to them. Prepare my last defense. If I must fall, I will fall as a ruler." But the humans were already there. High above the capital planet, a fleet of dark human ships appeared silently. They did not attack immediately. They hovered in the clouds, invisible but watching. Then one ship sent a single beam of light into the atmosphere. It wasn't a weapon. It was a message. The signal carried a short sentence in the Emperor's language. It said, "This is the wrath you called upon yourself." Moments later, the Empire's main command network shut down completely. Every system froze. Every defense drone went dark. The Emperor's palace lost power. The stars themselves seemed to fade. In that silence, Marcus Hale gave the order. End it. A wave of invisible energy rippled through space. It moved like wind, unseen but unstoppable. Every shipyard, every weapon factory, every orbital fortress of the Empire was erased. Not destroyed, but removed from existence. The message was clear. Earth had decided the war was over. When the silence ended, the Empire's fleets were gone. The Council's chambers were empty. Whole sectors of space were dark. The Emperor, for the first time, sat alone in a powerless throne room. On Earth, Marcus watched the final signals fade. He whispered softly, "They wanted slaves. Now they have ghosts." Kara looked at him quietly. "Is it over?" Marcus stared at the stars. "No. This is just the beginning of what comes after wrath. The galaxy would never be the same again." Every civilization now knew the truth. The humans had awakened, and their power had rewritten the laws of war. The Galactic Council chamber was quiet. The once crowded seats of the Great Hall were now half empty. Where proud leaders had once sat, now only broken silence remained. Entire civilizations had fallen. The air smelled of dust and old smoke. The Emperor's seat stood dark and cracked. No one dared to sit there. A pale alien delegate stood up and spoke softly. "The humans did not destroy us with fire. They destroyed our pride. They showed us we were never gods." The words hung heavy in the chamber. No one replied. The few remaining leaders looked at each other in silence. Every one of them had lost something, worlds, fleets, or families, to Earth's unseen wrath. Humanity had not conquered their planets. It had erased their power. Far away, in Earth's orbit, the human flagship Dauntless floated silently above the blue planet. Inside, Ambassador Marcus Hale stood near the wide viewing window. Below him, Earth glowed like a jewel. Around it, hundreds of human ships moved in perfect formation. There was no celebration, no cheering, only quiet purpose. Captain Leora Kane entered the command deck. Her uniform was dark gray, her expression calm but tired. "The Empire's central worlds have fallen," she said. "No fleet remains that can resist us," Marcus nodded. "And the survivors? They've sent messages. Some ask for help, some for forgiveness." Marcus turned to look at her. "Forgiveness," he repeated softly. "Interesting word. They had none when they called us slaves," Leora sighed. "We can end it now. We don't have to destroy anymore. We can rebuild something better." He didn't answer right away. He just watched the stars. "If we stop now," he said finally, "the galaxy will remember us as the ones who brought balance. If we go too far, they will remember us as monsters." Leora looked out the window with him. "So which will we become?" "That," Marcus said quietly, "depends on what we do next." Across the galaxy, the fall of the Empire created chaos. Without its fleets, thousands of planets began to riot. Former slave worlds rose in rebellion. Entire systems declared independence. The galaxy burned, not because of human weapons, but because of the power vacuum left behind. On one liberated world, the people stood under the remains of their city. They looked up as human ships appeared in the sky. Instead of dropping bombs, the ships opened their cargo bays and released food, water, and medical drones. The survivors cried. They had expected death, but found mercy. In another system, a small group of aliens who once served as Imperial soldiers contacted Earth for help. They begged for guidance, unsure how to live without orders. Humanity sent advisors instead of soldiers, but not all humans agreed with this new mercy. Deep within the fleet, a secret group called the Iron Command grew restless. They believed the galaxy deserved no pity. "They called us slaves," their leader said. "Let them see what slaves can do when unchained." The Iron Command began silent attacks on remaining Imperial worlds without authorization. Their ships carried no Earth insignia. They used hidden weapons and erased entire planets. When Marcus learned of it, his anger was quiet but sharp. "Find them," he told Leora. "Bring them back. We will not become what we fought against." Leora saluted and left to hunt the rogue fleet. It was not an easy task. The Iron Command was led by Admiral Revan, a man who had lost his family to the Empire's slave raids. To him, mercy was weakness. His ships hid deep in space, striking targets at random. Marcus knew this could destroy everything humanity had achieved. If the galaxy saw them as destroyers, all the respect they had earned through victory would vanish. "We won the war," he said to himself, "but now we must win peace." Leora's hunt took her to the edges of known space. The void was silent, filled only with drifting wreckage. She finally found traces of the rogue fleet near the ruins of an old imperial world. There she saw something that froze her heart. The planet below was burning, its cities turned to ash. The Iron Command had already been there. Leora sent a message. "Admiral Revan, this is Captain Kane. You are ordered to cease your attacks and return to Earth Command." A moment later, a voice came back, cold and bitter. "You still believe in mercy, Captain?" "The Empire didn't show mercy when they chained our people. Why should we?" "Because if we don't stop," she replied, "we'll become what we hated." "We'll become them," Revan laughed. "Then maybe we deserve to. The galaxy will never respect us until they fear us." Leora's ship locked on his position, but she hesitated. Destroying another human fleet would only deepen the wound. "Don't make me do this," she said quietly. Revan's voice softened for the first time. "You won't have to. The galaxy is already ours." Then his ship turned toward the burning planet and jumped into folded space, disappearing without a trace. When Leora returned to Earth, she brought the report to Marcus. He read it in silence. "So it begins," he said finally. "Our first war is over, but the next one has already started, within ourselves." Meanwhile, on the galactic capital, alien survivors began to rebuild their world. Where once the Emperor's palace stood, now a memorial was being built. The few remaining members of the council met in a ruined chamber. "We must build something new," one said. "The humans destroyed our empire, but maybe we can learn from them." "They are not gods," another replied. "But they showed us what courage looks like. Maybe that's what the galaxy needs." They decided to send an envoy to Earth. The message was simple. "Let us rebuild together." Back on Earth, Marcus received the message. He read it aloud to his officers. "They want peace," he said softly. "Maybe it's time we listen." Cara Voss entered the room carrying a new report. "The world is watching us," she said. "Some fear us. Some want to join us. We have power like no one before, Marcus." "What will we do with it?" Marcus looked at her. "We will not rule," he said firmly. "We will guide. We will help. We will make sure no one forgets what it costs to be free." Outside the command window, Earth glowed bright against the black of space. Fleets moved quietly, not as conquerors but as guardians. Humanity's wrath had burned across the stars, but now something else began to rise from the ashes. Hope. Still, not everyone agreed with the new path. In hidden corners of space, small human factions whispered of power. They saw themselves as the new rulers of the galaxy. They believed Earth should dominate, not guide. They built ships in secret, waiting for the day they could challenge Marcus's vision. Marcus knew of them. He knew that peace would not last forever. But he also knew that humanity had changed. The galaxy had changed. And even if new wars came, they would be fought differently. He stood before the great window one last time that night and spoke quietly to himself. "We were slaves, then soldiers, now leaders. But we must never forget what made us strong. Not our weapons, not our wrath, our will." Below him, Earth continued to spin, calm and blue as fleets patrolled the stars. The Empire was gone, and in its place, a new order was forming, not of conquest, but of survival, unity, and remembrance. Yet, in the dark corners of the galaxy, broken empires whispered in secret. They spoke of revenge. They spoke of rebuilding. And somewhere beyond known space, a silent human ship drifted in the dark, its engines still burning, waiting for orders that would one day change the stars again. The stars burned cold over the ruins of the old galaxy. The Empire was gone, and the humans stood as the new power that none dared to challenge. Yet peace felt fragile, like a glass ready to break. Marcus Hale stood in the Galactic Council chamber once more. the same place where humanity had once been declared slaves. The floor was still marked by cracks, and the ceiling flickered with half-functioning lights. Around him sat the new council, humans, former slaves, and the few alien leaders who had survived the fall. "This meeting is called to order," Marcus said calmly. "The agenda: stability across the outer systems." One alien delegate, thin and green-skinned, rose to speak. "The rebellion worlds refuse to recognize this council's authority," he said. "They claim humans are simply a new kind of empire." Murmurs filled the room. Marcus waited for silence before speaking. "We did not come here to rule," he said slowly. "We came to make sure what happened to us never happens again. But peace requires order. If the rebellion worlds will not join, we must still protect the innocent." Another delegate leaned forward. "And what if they attack us?" Marcus looked at him and said quietly, "Then they will learn that mercy is not weakness, but wrath still lives in us." The words silenced the hall. Everyone remembered what Earth's wrath had done to the old empire. The humans had burned fleets, erased armies, and brought entire civilizations to their knees without needing gods or miracles. The galaxy still trembled at the memory. Later that night, Marcus stood alone outside the chamber, looking at the stars through the tall glass windows. Caravos joined him. "They fear us," she said softly. "Even our allies." "They should," Marcus replied. "Fear keeps them cautious. But we must make sure it doesn't turn into hatred." She handed him a datapad. "We found something. A signal from the outer colonies. It's human, but not one of ours." Marcus read the message. The signature was from Admiral Revan, the man who had led the rogue fleet months ago. The message was short. "The war isn't over. You think you brought peace, but the galaxy still hates us. Let me finish what you couldn't." Marcus's face hardened. "He's alive," Kara nodded. "And he's building something. Out there, past the rim. Reports say he has followers, humans who think you're weak." "Send Captain Kane," Marcus said. "She's the only one who can reach him." Leora Kane's ship, the Argent Dawn, left Earth the next day. Her orders were simple: find Revan and bring him home peacefully if possible. But deep inside, she knew peace might no longer be an option. Days passed as the ship traveled through folded space. When they finally reached the coordinates, what they found was terrifying. In orbit of a dead star, an entire fleet floated, massive human warships, dark gray with no insignia. The Iron Command had grown. Revan's voice came through the comm. "Welcome, Captain," he said calmly. "I was waiting for you." Leora stood on her bridge, eyes fixed on the screen. "You're leading them into madness, Revan. You'll destroy everything we built." "Built?" he said with a bitter smile. "You mean your peace with the ones who once whipped us and chained our children? You call that strength?" "No, Captain. I'm building something real. A galaxy that will never threaten Earth again." "You're becoming what we fought against," she said. "Maybe," he answered. "But maybe that's what it takes to survive." Before she could reply, sensors flared. Revan's ships were charging weapons. "You won't stop me, Leora. Go home." "Tell Marcus the Age of Mercy is over." Her crew waited for her command. She could open fire, but she hesitated. Revan's ships had civilians on board, families who believed in his vision. A battle here would kill thousands. "Hold fire," she said quietly. "Open a channel again." But Revan's fleet disappeared into folded space, vanishing before her eyes. When she returned to Earth, Marcus was already waiting. He listened as she reported what she had seen. "He's building an army," she said. "And he believes he's protecting Earth by destroying everything else." Marcus rubbed his temples. "If he strikes first, the galaxy will unite against us. All the peace we made will vanish." Kara stepped forward. "Then we have to find him before he moves." But finding Revan was not easy. His fleet hid in dead systems, moving between black holes and nebulae. Then one day, the first attack came. A galactic colony world, neutral and peaceful, was hit by unknown ships. The cities were vaporized in seconds. Millions died. The survivors said the attackers spoke in human voices. The galaxy went silent. Then the messages began. "Earth has declared war again," one broadcast said. "The humans have returned to destroy us all." Marcus slammed his fist against the table. "He's framing us," Kara said. "The Council is demanding answers." Some already want to send their fleets to attack Earth. Then we'll show them the truth, Marcus said. If Revan wants to use fear, we'll use truth. He ordered a public broadcast across the entire galactic network. When the signal opened, every world saw him standing in front of the council flag. "This is Ambassador Marcus Hale of Earth," he said, his voice calm but strong. "The attacks on your colonies were not done by us. They were done by a traitor who once served under our command. We did not fight to rule you, we fought to free you. But freedom must be defended even from our own." He paused and looked directly into the camera. "If the galaxy wants to test our resolve again, remember this: we have not forgotten how to fight." The message spread fast. Some believed him, some did not. But one thing was certain: the galaxy watched Earth again with fear and awe. Meanwhile, Revan listened from his hidden base. He turned off the broadcast with a smile. "You still play the diplomat, Marcus," he muttered. "But when the fire starts, no speech will stop it." He turned to his officers. "Prepare the Wrath-class dreadnoughts. We strike the core systems next." When word reached Marcus, he knew there was only one way to end it. He would have to face Revan himself. He left Earth with a small fleet: the Dauntless, the Argent Dawn, and 3 escort ships. Kara wanted to stop him, but he shook his head. "This isn't a war of fleets anymore. It's between 2 visions of humanity." They found Revan's fleet near the dying light of a red giant star. 2 human fleets faced each other in silence, surrounded by the endless black of space. Marcus opened the channel. "Revan, end this now! The galaxy's watching." Revan appeared on the screen, calm and proud. "Let them watch," he said. "They'll see what true power looks like." "Power without purpose is nothing," Marcus said quietly. Revan's eyes hardened. "Then prove it." The battle began. Beams of light cut across space. Ships exploded, their debris drifting into the void. Leora's ship dodged fire, striking back at Revan's flank. Marcus stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, giving orders with steady calm. After hours of fighting, only 2 ships remained: Dauntless and Revan's flagship. Marcus ordered a direct channel. "It ends here," Marcus said. Revan's voice came through the static. "Maybe, but even if I fall, others will rise. The galaxy will never forget our wrath." Marcus stared into the darkness. "Then let them remember mercy, too." He activated the final command. The Dauntless's engines overloaded, sending a blinding wave of light through space. Revan's ship vanished in the explosion. When the light faded, silence returned. The battle was over. Days later, Earth mourned Marcus Hale. His ship was gone, but his message lived on. The Council declared the end of the Wrath era and began the founding of a new alliance, one built not on fear, but balance. Leora stood on the viewing deck of the rebuilt Council Hall. Below her, the galaxy shone with thousands of stars. "He gave us peace," she whispered. Kara nodded beside her. And a warning: power means nothing without mercy. Outside, Earth shone like a beacon, calm and bright. Humanity had burned worlds and erased civilizations, but now they guarded the stars, not as conquerors, but as watchers. And in the quiet of the galaxy, the legend of Earth's wrath became both a warning and a promise. Because everyone knew, if tyranny ever returned, the humans would rise again.